Hopefully it was just a bad connection or something. I don't know. All right. It says live. Did that work? Ben, how's it going? See how this goes here.
We're back.
We're trying.
We're back in live.
Now I just needed to get the link to the main.
Hey, it's like you never left. Love what you've done with the place.
So now I've got garbage one.
Okay, now I got it.
Okay. So now we'll see if people join back in after that pile of crap.
No. You did tell them that it was gonna.
That's our pile of crap, by the way.
Yes, it is going, and it looks a whole lot clearer than what it was.
There we go. I'm gonna check the stream and see that it's not complaining. It was actually telling me it was bad. Like I said, bad. Bad.
It was bad.
Bad.
All right.
Good.
Pause the video.
Health is good. Okay, we're good. All right, we're back.
Awesome.
Here we
Okay.
are.
Everything we didn't talk about yet. Let's continue.
I'll have to chat in a bit.
we chatted ourselves out while you were gone, Landon. So.
All right.
Let's see. We got Sonia, Groovy Ghoulie, Jason Wade, Mike Harringer, 92308, and Paul Liu. Awesome.
Everybody. Okay, I think the last thing I said, no idea. Oh,
9 watching.
How is
and now
everyone
2
was
thumbs ups.
doing?
The last thing you said was a bunch of bad words because your hangout wasn't going too good.
yeah, it's saying the current frame rate is too high. What is it talking about?
So it's too clear?
I'm not controlling that.
Is there such a thing?
Saying the stream is
Whoa,
over.
whoa, whoa. This looks way too professional.
Yeah.
Better back
This
that
looks like
off.
one of those the Tone King broadcasts or something.
Yeah. Well, that was like I had Steve from Boston on the other night, and off air he had a problem jumping in initially where I couldn't hear him, and then he starts talking about, well, you know, I do this filter and this coding and blah blah. Blah. I'm like, yeah, dude, I play guitar. I have no idea what you're talking about.
He's got a good setup. Current frame rate is too high.
Play a little guitar. I hang out with Landon. I hang out with Shane. I hang out with you guys. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. as
It's
long as
alike.
I can- I don't care
That's
about-
why you like to know us nerdy types that also play guitar.
That's right. You always keep a couple of those in your back pocket.
you never know when they come.
Literally.
Yeah, I got a guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
I
we're
know.
good enough. It's gonna hang.
I
on.
know a guy that
I
knows
know
a
a
guy that knows a guy who has a cousin that has a sister that has an aunt that knows a guy. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that guy too?
Yeah.
I just know the cousin.
What we got here? So we got 15 people watching. I think most of the people joined back in, so that's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome one and all.
There we
Yeah.
go.
What was I going to talk about? I had something I was just going to mention a second ago, but I forget.
You were saying something earlier on about Disney and
Oh yeah, that was my clickbait title.
your clickbait title.
Disney is buying Gibson, but then I had a disclaimer. It's not there anymore. I said no, that's not true. You know, I had joked about that for a long time, but then when you think about CBS and what they were, and they bought Fender, like they're a broadcasting company, right?
Yeah, but they practically killed Fender.
I know that wasn't a good thing.
They just about drove him into the ground.
Yeah.
Yep.
So does that mean that Jessica Witz is a broadcasting system?
The Jeskowitz broadcasting system. Yeah, I guess.
And that's
It's just
why
about
he
throwing him
killed
into the
Gibson
ground.
was because he's a broadcasting system?
I was going to say, technically, isn't an amplifier a broadcasting system?
I guess.
Yeah.
The
Radio
original
broadcast.
circuits were from RCA radios, so
That's true. They were radio circuits, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we got John.
Supposedly, Leo Fender's thing was a radio repair or something originally.
yep. As he said, if RCA, published the schematics, why can't I use them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that Jessica Witz television. Hi, kids. I'm Gary the guitar. Have you gotten your Les Paul lately?
Don't
Go
worry
to
if
your
it doesn't.
local music store and pick one of me up.
Don't worry if it doesn't stay in tune.
Yeah.
Watch those fret ends.
Yeah.
My strings are a little loose,
we got
but
Dale.
that's easy
Hey,
to
Dale.
fix.
you guys talking about? Dale's in the chat there. We got ZD351. That's John.
That's John. Yep.
How's it going?
Mitch Heyman.
All right, a couple things I'm going to mention. I got this about, I don't know, 4 months ago, March or February. I was doing like a partscaster rebuild, and I've been waiting forever for the body. I'm putting a new body on this. It's finally coming in. It's been on hold or been on back order or something. It's a Mexican Olympic white 60s style body that apparently has been shipped now. And I was guessing that the Player series had something to do with the delay because of all the new products coming out. So that'd be cool. So that's what I've been waiting for. I'll be able to finish up that video and have this. It's a 50s neck. It'll be a 60s body and then a couple single coils. It's like a really twangy telly. I don't have one of those. So and it's got a 4-way switch on it too.
Nice.
I think Ben, you were just talking about it. Everybody needs a 4-way switch.
Yep. I have one in my 71 telly, and that's what I gave Rich for his birthday.
Cool.
So I was just going to say, you said it was Olympic white. Yeah, that's one of the main colors that they've put out for that new series. So yeah, that's probably a big reason why it was delayed.
Yeah.
It's a Jimi Hendrix color.
They kept changing the date to, it was supposed to be March, and then it was April, then it was May, and it was June, and that was July. So I just it wasn't coming.
Again, if they were building up the stock for the Players Edition,
they couldn't
all those months would have been the build-up months.
They're still out. I was talking to my buddy just the other day. He sold out of all of his Player Series tellies, and now he's waiting on more. And they're like, "Well, we shipped you a dozen for your 3 stores." He's like, "Yeah, they were gone in a week.
They're gone. You know? They're popular.
Yeah, we need more."
They're definitely nice.
I think he's down to 2 guitars overall out of whatever shipment. Fender makes you order 20 plus guitars. He's down to 2. Awesome.
You're really
I haven't seen any of the tellies. I've played 2 or 3 of the Strats, and they're nice. Definitely.
Yeah, they are
cool. And so the other thing,
and the telly's a telly. You can only do so much to a telly, right? And keep it traditional. It's either going to have 3 saddles or 6, and that's about the only difference, really. Until you get into the weirder stuff, with a humbucker or P90s, etc. But for the most part, 2 single coils. You're gonna, it's gonna be a telly.
I think on a telly, the only thing you really get that varies much is the neck.
Yeah,
you can get them thicker, you can get them thinner. You can get them, various radii and
V.
Big tall frets on them or low narrow ones.
Paul Lou is saying he needs a telly. Everybody needs at least one telly.
Or in Ben's case, hardly any frets at all.
Yeah, exactly. You got a silver Sharpie? That's all you need. Just silver Sharpie. That's high enough.
So if Gibson had a fretless Wonder, why can't Fender?
Yeah, you look at my vintage tellies, or even actually, that Kramer I picked up has next to no fret height.
Wow.
Yeah, I love it. It was a happy accident there because they're a jumbo width, but they're super flat, and I was digging that.
Don't they buzz like crazy?
No, I don't know what it is. I don't get string buzz, and I play down a half step with 9s with no fret height, and yet I don't get buzz.
Wow. That would normally sound like buzz country.
Oh, I know.
Down a half step with 9s. Wow, yeah.
Yeah, and even then, one of the guitars is an open G, but down a half step. So what? Open F sharp. Again, no buzz. That one I run 9 through 46. But even then,
I keep my my butterscotch telly in either an open G or open E.
Nice.
That's my tribute to Keith Richards. As a matter of fact, I name all my guitars, and that was his name is Keith.
Yep.
Keith.
That's what I named my 67. Yeah, Keef, and I put that masking tape on the hard shell case when my dad gave me the guitar, and he looked at me and goes, "Seriously, kid? Seriously?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, Keith, all the way."
Oh yeah, all the way.
So the only other thing I want to mention, I pre-ordered. I'm going to show it on the screen here. I thought I'd cured my Vox gas that I had what was that, a month ago? I bought a Vox, that's behind me there, Vox AC4 C112, right?
There she is.
But then the stupid summer NAM came out. Let me see if it always happens.
I know what you want. You want the same thing Rich
application window. Let's see if that's here.
Beetle snuff.
Is that working there? Hold on.
ZD351. Do you guys with multiple guitars still care about having the exact right neck profile radius anymore? I'm comfortable on a variety of shapes and sizes. I'm comfortable on a variety of shapes and sizes. However, I do still have my preferences. Like I still like a really thin 60s neck on the Fender stuff, at least.
Generally, I do too. But I've got an Eric Clapton Strat, and it's got the soft V on it, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I got to tell you, and I don't have big hands either, so I was a little concerned, about how it was going to feel in hand, but it feels good. Other than that, though, I do sort of prefer C's or something slimmer.
All right, are you guys seeing that screen?
Yeah, the Super Beetle.
Super Beetle. It's a mini Super Beetle.
Yes.
You were presenting.
There. Anyways, yeah, the Vox Super Beetle Mini, and the look of it, it's recreating like the old Beatles, the stacks that they had, right, in their concerts. And then I saw a video on Andertons. I wasn't really that interested, and they did a good review on it, and it actually sounds pretty cool. And it's got built-in digital reverb and tremolo. And
cool.
So the weird thing though is I had the AC, the MV, what is it called? The new tube system they came out with last year, the little mini amps. I had the AC version, I think it's MV50. And I didn't love that thing. And I sold it. I didn't love it. And I think what I didn't give it enough time and try it through different speakers. I only played it through one Jensen Alnico speaker, and I think that was maybe not a good mix for that. So this one has a 10-inch Celestion, and it also has
speaker out.
Yeah, speaker out, which is cool. And it's got the reverb and it's got the tremolo, and it just seems like a better package. So
nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that stuff with new tubes though? When they shake them, don't they get a little tone in them somehow or other?
New tubes?
I was watching somebody do something with it. I don't remember if it was
the guitar.
Could have been a pedal,
maybe. I think talked about it a little bit. He got his hands on one, but I don't know if he's done much with it. But he said it's not very far off of how a realistic tube amp's circuitry goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Anyways,
I'm just curious to see how they take a high, really pushing the front end. If they break up the same as a tube, or
Yeah.
Well, it sounded very tube-like the Mini Vox in the Mini Vox video that Landon's mentioned. That was the thing that kind of got me, because all the other ones that I'd seen of it, it was, it was like, it kind of sounded, but for some reason, the way they did it, I don't know if it's the quality of their mics or their setup or what, but the amp sounded really good. And when they threw it to high gain, you could hear that kind of fuzzy breaking up kind of saturation of what a tube would do when it's pushed hard enough. And it was like,
Yeah, it was I was impressed by it. They actually seemed to really enjoy it. I'm talking about Andertons, right? It was Lee and the Danish guy,
Danish Pete.
Yeah,
Danish Pete.
And they seem to like
one of my favorite guitar players.
It's pretty cool.
Then again, he could probably make an amplified soup can sound great too, though.
For sure.
So that's he could just hum while he's playing his guitar. It'll sound good.
Yeah. So that won't be available for a while. I think it's end of August. Hopefully, not too much of a delay on that. The winter NAMM stuff seems to get delayed a lot. January all the way stuff is like August, July, or stuff like that. And summer NAMM seems to be less of a wait. So.
Yeah, which is weird. Why aren't they building the stuff 6 months before they announce it?
I don't know. I waited. Was it 3 years ago? Digitech released. It was like a band in a box called the Trio.
Oh yeah.
I waited like 8 months for that thing, and then and it was okay. But you're waiting so long for something, right?
Yeah, you could be over it before it ever arrives.
Yeah,
right? Exactly.
Oh God, this is here.
Yeah. That was kind of the big problem with the Viper Pro launch. Was they had everything in place. They're about ready to finally launched it at NAMM after that one NAMM, and they announced it. Then somebody got one and said, wait a second, there seems to be some kind of issue in the effects loop. So there was some type of grounding issue in the effects loop. So they had to stop the production and go back in. All those ones that they've already pre-done and fix the issue and then start production back up. So that's what took like another 6 months to a year.
Wow.
Okay.
Before it actually launched. And since then, to me, it's been the reason why it hasn't done well, because you look at Boss Katana, blah blah blah, have came out since, so they'd never really had much. That plus they wasted all that time marketing it way too early that everybody was just like, screw it, you know.
Yeah, PV's had a rough time, I think, in the past couple of years. That Boss Katana launch was amazing, right? It just, everybody bought them. Apparently they were sold out. The especially there was I don't know which one was the most popular. I think the 100 maybe, or the 50. Those two models.
The 100-watt head. I've heard a lot of people getting those.
Yeah.
Because the best of both worlds, right? You take it to band practice, you plug it into your 412 cab, you do your thing. You can take it home with you, and it's got that little built-in speaker in the head itself, and then you can still use it at home.
I bought the 100 combo, and I bet you if I bought the head, I would have kept it. I ended up selling the 100 just because I had like 6 12-inch combo amps around. I didn't need that many, and I was just playing with the dials too much. I wasn't actually playing the amps. So yeah,
I can relate to having 112 combos. Yeah.
I actually did a shootout. I got a video. It was called Max Volume, and I had like 5 or 6. I had like PV Bandit 112 and a bunch of stuff, and I just maxed them all out to see which one was the loudest. I think the winner, I can't remember what the winner was. Yeah, they all had 12-inch speakers. That was fun though.
Very nice.
I don't know why they don't make more separate heads and cabinets anyhow.
I don't know.
It seems like seems like 90% of the stuff is combos, which is cool.
Yeah.
But you know what? You always hear guys talking about, if they're going out to gig and stuff, how heavy this stuff is to carry around.
Yeah.
Now, if you could just split it off into a cab and a head, okay, you might have to take 2 trips, but even after that, you probably still got it back when you're done moving it around.
Well, there's 2 answers for that, Steve. I'd say, if you're gigging in an urban environment, where you only want to make 1 trip from a cab or the van even, then you want the combo, right? You want to be able to sling the pedal board over your shoulder.
Yeah.
More guys use gig bags even, because you can sling a 2-guitar gig bag over the other shoulder, carry your amp, pedal board, boom, 1 trip. For someone like myself, where a small town where we're bringing a PA system and everything, at that point you definitely want a separate head and cab, because you don't mind making the extra trip.
I can remember hearing the guys who say how much they love their Fender reverb,
right?
But they're like, but it weighs like 80 pounds or something like that, and just schlepping it in and out of cars and vans, and if you happen to be playing upstairs or someplace, you got to drag it all up, and admittedly it's a really great amp. Once you get it in all plugged in, you're finished moving it around, and it's not going to move anymore. It's unique, it's iconic, and guys love them, but I think people are getting away from them just because of the weight factor.
Exactly.
So that's why I say, wouldn't it to some degree make a lot of sense to have the choice to say, I'd like that circuitry and that speaker, but just give it to me in separate boxes, so I don't have to kill myself dragging it up and down steps or whatever.
Even if there's $100 that's separated into the 2 separate, certain amplifiers say retail $700, $900 if you want it as a separate head and cab.
Yeah,
that's fine, because I prefer it that way too, because I like to have ideally a single 112 cab, and then I can choose which head I want to take to which gig.
Or the other way around, you like the head and you can put it with different cabs, to get, a different sound or whatever.
Yeah. I think it's Fender. They don't seem to make very many heads.
No, they don't.
And that's, I'd probably buy more Fender amps if they did. I was looking, and the only thing that I can see recently is they have the ones I don't want to buy, the bass break, right?
Bass break.
the ones that break. Let's just say it.
Got a Supersonic 2 or something like that. A Supersonic 22 or something like that.
X2 is it X2? I think that
X2.
one's interesting. That's got
Something with a
built-in
2.
effects. Those are the only two that I can see. And
Right.
then the next level up is like what do they have? The they're like $1,200. I can't remember the.
Oh yeah, the it's like a 12-watt head or something like that.
I can't remember the name of them.
It's a tweed head. It's tweed colored. Oh man, yeah, I forget it too.
Fender's kind of in a weird area right now where it's either you're buying modeling, which I consider the bass breaker, blues breaker. I always mix up the name. That I put into modeling territory in many ways because it does have various voicings.
Mustangs,
or you go old school, full on tube amplifier. It's one. They really don't push their solid state stuff a whole lot. Like you can still get a champion as opposed to a champ. The champion is the solid state. Replace the front man. I got a front man half stack right there. When was the last time Fender made a half stack? That one right there.
I have the feeling that they sell all the tube amps that they can crank out, and whether they deserve it or not, the reputation is that people like them and want them, and I guess if they started pushing their solid state stuff, they might do it at the expense of the goose that's laying the golden egg for them. So they're probably reluctant to back off that. I would understand that if that was.
But on the other hand, too, I guess if you're a guy that plays solid state amps, like it's like Fender's always done it as an affordable, variant as opposed to going after the genre of music that they use solid state, like your really heavy metal, for instance. They prefer solid state amps over tube.
Yeah,
because it's more of a punch in the face.
And they're lighter too.
And they are lighter. Yes, they are. And more reliable. Where you can put those heavy resonant tones through them and you're not rattling your tubes out of their sockets halfway through the set.
Bass players seem to have gotten big into the solid state stuff. You get a lot of power out of those.
The 70s. Yeah.
We got John's leaving. He's got to go. The 351. I had invited him. You got to remember, he's in Australia, so it's noon hour, I think, there, and he's at work. So
they're like what? They're like 12 hours ahead of us right now, or something like that.
Cheers, John.
I thought it was 3 days ahead of us.
3 days. Yeah.
3 days, yeah. It's last month down there,
For sure.
New Zealand's 16 hours ahead.
Mitch Heyman was saying he's got a Katana 100 sitting in the corner collecting dust. So.
Wow, really?
Mitch, do you find I got options paralysis from mine. I found I was just like playing with the software and the firmware and just tweaking everything and never really just getting a setting I like and playing it.
You know what I found too, Landon? I had a couple of Mustangs. I had a 1 and a 3.
Okay.
The 3 was pretty nice. And, you could sort of twizzle with the knobs and stuff and come up with a bunch of different sounds and stuff. But, the one thing that just struck me as completely odd about it, it didn't have its own sound.
Right.
You can talk about this amp and that amp, and they, that's warm, that's chirpy, that's, good for metal and stuff. It's got a personality and it's got a panache, you know what I mean?
Right.
But the one thing that I found about, the Mustang, and I suspect it's the same with all of them, you can make it sound pretty close to a lot of different things, but it has no sound of its own. And somehow or other, I found that disorienting.
Right.
Yeah, I can't say the Katana had its own sound. I'm not really sure what I would compare it to.
I find with a lot of those amps, like in some ways it'll inspire you to play differently. But I find I just plug in, I start scrolling through presets, and you noodle for a few minutes on one, noodle for a few minutes on another one. Next thing you know, half an hour goes by. Okay, turn off the amp and get on with my day. And I'm like, I didn't really accomplish anything.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I would go through. I'd come down here at night, put it on, and I'm like, play a little bit. I'm like, maybe I can make it sound a little bit better. So I go, and then maybe I can make it sound a little bit better, and never be fully finished. Right? You're never like, there we go. And
never actually hit that save.
Right.
Yeah.
It never came up with its own personality. No, it never did.
I can say myself in owning 3 different Vipers that when I got the first one, which was the Viper 30 solid state, I really, really stuck to what was coming up in the patches, and it was kind of like some of you said, like you just would go to one setting, sounds good, and you just play around on it. But I found by the time I've gotten now this VIP2, which I've had, like I said, this August it'll be 3 years, and especially with the Sandpara 2 pedal, the flexibility that once you start understanding the amp, and like you said, the tweaking is actually where it has its big advantage. One of the things, like a lot of you were just saying there, the problem is you know, some of the presets on a lot of the modeling amps, they just do not sound good or don't give you what you're looking for. So you really need to then go in and edit them. And, you know, unless in some cases, like I said, PV, to me, I feel they've done a really good job in regards to the patches they put in this amp. And from what I've heard of people say about the Viper Pro, a lot of the patches in that is done really well. But at the end of the day, if I think about it and hanging around the people that are the Line 6 Helix users like on like Eric and Chad Boston and so forth that have used that Helix LT and the full model, those I would say Line 6 probably has the best patches, like when you talk about like a modular type of thing. Like I've listened to like theirs, and I've heard various other people demo it, and they're not too far off of having the real thing, despite it not being an actual amp.
Yeah.
Know what you mean?
I've been debating trying one of those Helix units, because ironically enough, the guy who gave me my current pedal board, which is mighty big, is because he decided to go the Helix route because he was sick of lugging a dozen plus pedals around every gig.
Right.
And as soon as, you know, I finally built my first big board, and I was super happy. And within a week, I was just like, maybe I should look at a Helix. Like I've been talking to him a lot, and my biggest problem with any kind of, and I put it into the category of multi-effects units, was I'm such a snob that I can't use like a Boss unit, for instance, because I love their chorus, I love their digital delay, but I can't stand their phaser. I can't stand most of their overdrives. You know, so it's like but it's like I want the MXR phaser, but I want the DD3 for my delay, and I want, you know, an EHX overdrive. Well, you can do that with the Helix, right? It's got the best of everything. So, and they've cloned just about everything you can think of.
I haven't the Helix. I've spent zero time looking at that, so I'm totally unaware of. I know what it is, but I haven't. It just doesn't interest me. I don't know.
Yeah. And for the initial outlay to buy one, like, sure, it's great, but, you know, it's so expensive. But it'd be the same as going out and buying half a dozen good pedals. But none of us go out and buy half a dozen good pedals at once, right? You're buying one here, one there, one here.
Sort of accumulate them over time, yeah.
Yeah, basically, I mean, a Helix, I think it's not the LT, but the Pro version, which is, I think, the XT, that has the individual displays, the large display, and the foot controller. I mean, that unit is the same price as going out and getting Axe, Fex, Kemper, and so forth. Like you're looking $1,200 US, I think. Wow. Whereas the LT doesn't have the foot pedal, but it's got every single thing else about it. That actually goes for $999. But I mean, honestly, they have the most realistic pedals, where it's like, you know, like Ben was saying, I want, you know, such and such effects pedal. Well, amazingly enough, in their database, they have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the worst Boss, you were talking about, sorry, Ben, you were talking about Boss pedals being, some of them being good and some being bad. I don't know. I had a PH3. Is that the phaser?
Yeah.
That was the worst pedal I ever had, for sure.
Yeah.
It just, I
had a PH2 for 3 days.
Yeah. Did yours suck tone and drop the volume? Like, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it was like, the first phase, I remember because I had the PH2, so the phase 1, I found a lot of Boss pedals are very sanitary. Like I always called them your dad's pedals in many ways. You know, they were like, it's a phaser, but it's not a cool phaser. You know, like none of the pedals were really cool per se.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, yeah, it's a phase, I guess. And I tried the other one, and it was like the feedback more like a flange. And it was just overpowering of signal, tone bending. I was like, well, that's just unusable.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, gone. You know, and I got myself a phase 90.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
We got, pretty much like they're saying, like digital. When something is too digital and has a better sound in an analog sense, it's hard to digitize it.
Yeah.
We've been chatting there with Shane, but I didn't mention Shane from In the Blues is in the chat there, guys. I think you've all seen him. And Sonia, I think we said hi to Sonia. Looks like we got a bunch of people that just joined. We got over 30 people watching right now.
Wow. Yeah. Dan Sullivan's tuning in. Another fellow Canuck, Zach Thong. Yeah.
How come Shane's not on Murderer's Row?
Murderer's Row.
Yeah.
They don't have enough.
Oh, okay.
Dan has a deluxe reverb. He thinks he's used the tremolo in it 3 or 4 times since he bought it. It's not an effect I care to use unless I want to do surf, and I never do. Slow it down for some ballads. It's really nice. Really, really slow.
Yeah.
Like, get into that univibe territory, but not as overpowering.
Yeah, see, and that's the other thing as well, too, when you talk about like the amps like these, is the fact that, you know, you buy it and it's like, oh, it has a flange, it has this, it has that, and it's like, great, you know, you have everything, and that's just like Ben said, and a few others just said, you know, okay, I'm using it, and it's like, just something doesn't sound right about it, or it doesn't remind me of, you know, a phase or a flange that I've used before, and you can't get it to work. So I mean, it makes it hard sometimes when you do buy one of these amps and it doesn't give you everything that it promises. So it, like, really makes you kind of disappointed. That's why I think a lot of these amp companies and PV just finally did it with the Viper Pro, and that's they added an effects loop.
Right.
So if you don't find their effects well, you can at least then plug in your own effects and channel it through the amp. And a lot of modelers weren't doing that up until like about this last year and a bit.
Yeah, it's because I saw a modeling setup like a Helix, and I'm trying to think what TC Electronics maybe, and they included an effects loop as well. So it's like, here's our 5,000 effects we have in the bank, but if you still insist on using your vintage Klon, here's an effects loop. You can throw it in the front of this whole unit, and you can still assign a button to it, so you can do remote switching as well.
Yep,
perfect.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. Totally changing topic.
Sure.
It came up on one of my videos in the comments. I can't remember what video it was. One of my amp videos that had a standby switch. Somebody commented and said, "Did you know that a standby switch is completely useless?" And it's basically a technology that was carried over, and it's just put on the amps now because people are used to them. You guys heard that before?
I've heard of a similar argument.
I pretty much stopped using my standby switch.
They don't save your
I just turn on my
life. They don't. The only thing they do is keep it warm, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, and basically it's just a mute. You're still you're still running power through your tubes. It's not helping them at all.
Saves you the 50 seconds or whatever it takes to warm up the tubes, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
Does it run at a slightly reduced rate though when it's on?
Kind of. It's not. Yeah, it's definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely cuts your speaker out.
There you go. Shane just says to stop the boom when you turn your power off.
Like a solid state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them, not all of them do that, but I've had a few that just make that pop sound, right?
I hate that.
What the hell are you doing? Sounds like you're blowing up the amp when you turn it on.
It does, doesn't it?
God, it's brutal.
Hey, we got Cheddar in here.
Oh yeah, hey Cheddar. Groovy Ghoulie too.
Yeah,
I thought that was BC. So yeah, I guess the guy was commenting that it was something that was built. The standby switch was something that was built. I don't know what year he said, but for large power systems, and it was kind of put onto amplifiers which don't have the same kind of system at all, and it was just kind of a feature that's just nice to have now, but it isn't doing anything. And that was his point. I never heard that before. I just kind of really didn't pay attention to what they were doing. I just thought it was, you know, I'm gonna walk out of the room for a couple minutes, and I don't want to turn off the tubes. I'll just put it on standby for a second. But yeah, like, it's basically like a mute, right? A mute pedal. That's what I use it for. Like if I didn't have one of those, and if I had like a Boss tuner pedal that you can mute with or something like that.
Yeah. I was using my standby the other night at a gig only because we were playing in a place with bad ground, so we had that nice 60 cycle hum through the whole back line. So it's just yeah.
I didn't say hi to Dale. Hey, Dale. Dale Palmer. He's been somebody that I've seen on my channel for a couple of years.
Cool.
Yep. Dale's been around for a while. He was involved in
Shane, man.
Shane made me do this.
Cheddar Kung Pao. Thanks, buddy. $4.99. I invited him too to the chat. He was invited. I think he was busy tonight. So, but
gotcha.
Anyways, on the next one.
Yeah, because you had messaged me asking if I had his email, and I was like, I'm only 50-50 sure I know Cheddar's actual first name. And I think I only know it because I'm pretty sure I have the same first name as him. And I actually go by my middle name. So there you go. So, just in case he's hiding behind the Cheddar.
No, that's his name. His name is Cheddar.
It's legally been changed. Cheddar Kung Pao.
It will be soon, yeah.
His middle name's Jalapeno.
Cheddar Jalapeno.
Here's a combination.
Or is it Gouda?
I should wear
Cheddar Gouda Pow.
Never asked him
He's
where
chilling out with the wife and the dogs now, but next time. Awesome.
Okay, cool.
And actually, if you're around Sunday evening, this goes for any of you guys. I'm doing a subscriber hangout on my channel too. Okay, I'd love to have Cheddar on as well as Lando, Terry.
What
Steve.
time do you do that at? I've seen a few.
I'm going to start it at 8 o'clock and just go. You know, it could be 2 hours, it could be 6 hours, and people can jump in and out. I booked the following day off work, so
there you go.
There you go. Any excuse to get off work.
All nighter.
Well, it's sometimes like I don't know about you guys.
The other ones.
Sometimes you do these hangouts, you know, and you'll end after an hour or two, but then you hang out off air for just as long, and people were always like, "Well, what do you guys talk about?" I'm like, "Well, it's basically the same thing, but with more cursing." And so a few times we've gone like 4 or 6 hours just to let everyone see what's going on. You know, next thing you know, it's
you're not going to let me down on that, eh? First time on with Ben, and I say the S word, and then I'm like, oh crap.
Hey, it can't be any worse than what was it? The round table. We had a problem similar to this where certain people weren't showing up in the chat, and so I'm like, okay, we're going to restart it. And as we're restarting it, I'm telling the guys, and they're all talking a mile a minute. I'm like, guys, we're going live, and the show starts, and with the longest F-bomb in the world from a buddy of mine. I'm just like, well, there we are.
Nice.
We're back, folks. Yeah.
Oh, we got a couple of comments there about the standby switch. Island Winder saying prevents the high voltage. Oh, I just lost it there. Shane, what are you doing? Don't do that. Come on.
Australian, that's what, like $1.40 Canadian.
It used to be on par, so I don't know if it's.
I think it's still pretty close to par.
Yeah, it was for a while, which made the guitar prices insane over there.
Yeah, because every time I'm watching one of Shane's live streams or something, and they talk prices, I'm immediately bring up Google. All right, what's the Aussie to Canadian equivalent? And I'm like, oh man, you guys are getting hosed.
Yeah. Let me look it up. I'll see if it's the same today. It was for a good while.
Yeah, it is really close. I mean, like I said, I was looking at Australian stuff because
it was
cheaper, and it's like
$1.02 Canadian is $1.02 Australian.
Well, there we are.
So if you think
you're getting hosed, guys. Over there,
that, and then go look at the Fender Australian site, and they have their RRP prices for guitars, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I don't know. Sure, like our prices are without tax, but still, you know, it's crazy. Yeah.
Well, and the worst part is if I just went and looked at that LA Music preview for all the new Epiphone stuff that Gibson put out this year, I cannot believe that there is actually Epiphone products that are over $1,000 and almost like 1,300 Canadian now.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
Well, have you noticed, at least in Canada, the second-hand market, the $300 Epiphone Les Paul has been gone for about 18 months now. They're now $450, $500. They've really taken a huge jump.
Yeah, and now that bottom line standard plus top Epiphone Les Paul is now like 550, 600 retail Canadian. It's like,
wow,
what the hell?
Yeah.
Are they improving the product, or are they just pushing the price?
Price.
It's price push.
Yeah.
Shane's saying, don't look at the site if you have a weak heart. I'm gonna bring one up. Oh man. Okay. So you guys know the Player Series.
Yep. 850 Canadian.
All right, you ready? Let me just hold this.
Yeah, like here. When I originally thought that Player Series price was high, and then I just seen that Epiphone price, like that Prism Epiphone, they want $12.99 for that. $12.99 Canadian. I'm like,
yeah. Well, yeah. At least Fender's like, yeah, we jacked the price by 10%, but we were throwing in this, this, and this. Whereas Epiphone's just like, we're jacking the price. Oh, great. Googly oogly. That's ridiculous. I saw a price there.
11.49. Do they have the Squier on here? Yeah, they do. Get ready for this.
In the US, I think they're going for the high 6s and low 7s, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Which is pretty much exchange rate. Yeah. We get hosed a little across the border.
It's crazy, eh? A bullet. Let's see what a bullet costs. What? Oh my god.
That was cheap, as Shane said.
All right, so that just
made me a little nauseous.
Just a couple more. One more here. Let's go to.
Isn't that like
5 years ago? You could buy an Affinity Strat for 125 Canadian on sale.
Yeah,
regularly 100 and a half. 100 and a half for an Affinity.
There's a Squier over 1,000. Okay, that's enough.
Tele thin line 1,039. Meanwhile, that's about 600 here.
Pushing 7 now.
Yeah,
I noticed they've been creeping up because they're popular, right? And I noticed every year that there's a popular model, they'll jack it up by 20 to 40 bucks. Crazy. Which I get. You know, like if you're going, wow, we're selling 3 times as many of this unit, put $20 on it.
So I'll mention though, I think that price that you're seeing there is negotiable. I don't think that's the final price. That's kind of like the MSRP that we would see here. But I think Shane said there's some leeway. You can go into.
And not a lot of music stores are doing that anymore, right?
Apparently, they're
negotiating a lot of hard prices. Because I remember that. Well, you guys, it used to be, you see a Strat, MSRP 700, our price, whatever, say 6 1/4.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, Fender says it's $699, you sell it for $699. Now, granted, if you know the guy, they're probably going to knock a bit of money off for you, but it's not a given that you can negotiate guitar prices anymore.
Yeah, not too much, I don't think.
And you go from one shop to the next, the prices are all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're looking for a Strat and it's $700, in shop number A, when you go down to Whiz Bang Central, it's $700 there too. So.
Yeah. Pretty much, unless there's a clearance or something. Like I've seen some of the Fender standards. I've seen some stores dropping like $70 off because of the Player Series being out. But
I think part of that is so they can free up more cash to buy more Player Series because they are selling too, right?
Yeah,
it's not so much clearing out with the old.
I hate to jokingly say this, but unless it's a Gibson, then it goes up per store.
Yeah.
It's true, I think, in some ways.
Hey, I can attest to it. At GearFest, just looking, every company put minimum 10 to 15% off their regular price. That was the Sweetwater deal. Gibson was 35% off across the board. I was looking at their, I forget what they called it, but it was basically the exact same as Rich's LPJ, the satin red, Les Paul Studio essentially, right? Yeah. And it was $1,000 US normally, which I was like, man, that's a decent price because we do have that extra $100 tacked on plus exchange rate in Canada, but they added on for $650, and it was taking everything for me, $650 US, and you're into an actual Gibson on the headstock, It and it played amazing. That was the crazy part. I was like, damn, they actually built a good one here, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because that was the thing at Sweetwater is everything has a barcode, and it's like, we'll scan it. The guitar will be waiting for you when you leave. And I was telling the sales rep, I'm like, no, I want this one. I don't care if 3,000 people have picked this one up and played it. I want this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. The studio faded. Thanks, Dan. Yeah.
Yeah.
The studio faded.
Oh, did you guys? Sorry, Cheddar was asking if you get free kangaroo burgers.
Yeah.
Australia when you buy your guitar.
I hear kangaroo is actually a really good meat.
Yes.
No, we don't have the guy that would know. Maybe, possibly, a couple guys from Australia would have to.
You ask them, and they're like, "Dude, that's just racist." Like, come on. You're like, "No, I'm like shit. Want to know?" Cheddar says he got his Les Paul Traditional at Gearfest last year, like $500 off.
Okay.
See, there you go. Yeah.
Is Traditional one level up on the Standard, or is it just different?
No, the Traditional. I mean, at least I've seen a lot of the Traditionals is more old school, like no robo tuner, no super weight relief. You know,
no super
it's
weight.
like basically how the Standard used to be.
Okay. Yeah, the traditional weight relief as opposed to the modern weight relief. You can't buy a Gibson without weight relief other than I think there's 1 or 2 signature models, and even then Gibson has gone from 30 plus signature model Les Pauls to 3 or 4.
Cheddar's saying it's hand wired because I've got a buddy that's lending me a 2016 wine red tomorrow, so I'm gonna have it for the weekend.
Nice,
or for a couple weeks.
I'd be curious on that one. Cheddar, he says no weight relief. I would imagine it still has the traditional weight relief if it's depending on what year it is.
2016.
And he says, okay, the only one with no weight relief. Oh, nice.
Really? Oh, okay.
I'm curious how dense that wood is.
Yeah.
Some of those, man, I remember some of the 70s ones, they were, 11, 12 pounds easy.
They're
just shoulder breakers.
They're crazy. I've got another friend lent me a 77 custom wine red, actually, and I've got it still.
Yeah, there you go.
It's close to 11 pounds, I think.
Yeah, and the custom has got an extra half-inch thickness to the body, almost.
I'm not sure.
Which I didn't realize till because I had a form-fitted case for a Standard, and then I got a custom. And I was like, why won't my guitar fit in? And the case just barely closes with it. But they are a bit thicker.
Wasn't Steve saying that on your show, Ben, about how he tried Roberts, and he was like, oh my God, this thing's an anchor?
Yeah, it's like upwards of 14
pounds. 79.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Let me grab one here.
It's like playing a bass. Basses are heavy.
Yes.
Yeah. I had this on.
Cheddar says his is 9 pounds 3. That's not bad at all.
I weighed this. This is a 79 hardtail.
Right.
Any guess how much this weighs?
Didn't you say it was like 10 or 11 pounds?
It's
I was gonna say 9.5.
It's 10. It's over 10. Actually, I weighed it.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, where some of my I bet you my telly's like the 71. I'd be lucky if it's 7.5, maybe tops. It's super light. I love it.
Sometimes the Swamp Ash ones are lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're inconsistent. Yeah, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Swamp Ash is one of the most inconsistent. And that's why I think it is, in fact, a Swamp Ash, because it's so light compared to my 67, which I just have a feeling because it feels so average. Like most tellies I pick up feel like my 67 weight-wise. So I'm thinking it might be an older body because that's a more consistent wood.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I'm not.
I don't know. I like it. There's enough paint chips on it, like chip paint on it, that someone who knows wood could probably tell just by looking at it. But I have no idea. I can't tell.
Yeah, me too.
I know when I got my Harley Benton T52, it's 3-piece Swamp Ash. I know when I got it, I was thinking, oh, this shouldn't be that heavy. And I remember when I pulled it out when I did the unboxing, I was like, oh my God, this is almost as heavy as my Agile 3010. I was like, holy crap.
Pulls it out of the box. Next thing he says is, where's my truss?
Yeah. Like it was just crazy.
Yeah.
Still blows me away.
It's one of the reasons I got rid of my old Les Paul. Like Cheddar just says, yeah, I was at 9's my limit. I'm old and decrepit. Yeah. When I first started playing, my first electric guitar was a 72 Les Paul, and it was easily 12 plus pounds, and I could play it for 2 songs standing up, and then I had to sit down or just Fortunately, I had a Strat as well, and I'm like, oh, the Strat felt like a feather after having that Les Paul around my neck.
Man, that's
The
crazy.
swamp ash bodies tend to have much nicer grain on them, though. Much more pronounced. You know, more cosmetically attractive. And then if you put one of those transparent colors on them, you know, they look really nice. I think cosmetically they look nicer than older bodies, but like you say, you know, they're inconsistent. My
Alder's like pine, and you know what I mean. It's just you see wood grain, but it's nothing special, right?
It just
that's kind of like how basswood is. Basswood's a lot like pine too.
Yeah.
So you're saying,
or even spruce.
Steve, you're saying ash is the density is inconsistent, like you get different for swamp ash, or
very much.
Yeah, they can be heavier, they can be lighter. There's a big consistency with, you know, when you pick it up and say, geez, this feels heavy, this feels light. You'll get a lot more different people saying that, you know, oh, mine's heavy, mine's light. But if you get a guitar made out of alder, they tend to be a little more consistent.
Yeah, I think weight-wise. I was watching a thing on it. I'm trying to think. They were saying like alder will vary up to like 0.6 of a pound. You know, a little over half a pound variance from body to body, whereas ash can be up to a 30% difference. It's like it can be a two pound difference.
Yeah. Well, I've got an ash. I have 2 ash guitars, and one is super heavy. It's one of my. Oh, camera is locked on me. Thanks, Shane. Sorry. I didn't trying to take all the attention. Yeah, I have an ash. My Pro Telly is an ash, and it's like maybe under 7 pounds. And then I've got a Partscaster that's 10 pounds. And I thought when I bought the body, I thought it was gonna be super light, but it was super. Yeah. And I routed out some of the for the pickups, and routing that it was just so dense, like the sawdust I was getting out of that thing.
Sure. I think, like Steve was saying, my 71, they're both blonde finishes, but you can see the grain through the blonde on the 71 more too. So that also told me, because, you know, you can see some of them, you know, such tiger stripe, right? You know, it's like white to a medium brown. And so that one, I can see the grain through the finish somewhat. So, and it's still thick nitro finish. So if you can see the grain through, it's got to be an ash.
Cheddar's asking what's everybody's lightest guitar. He's got a 6.1. That's pretty light. PRS.
I don't know how much my guitars weigh, but just from picking them up, you know, and just holding by hand, I gotta say it's my Butterscotch Telly.
I'd say
that's a swamp ash.
I don't know.
I'd say this is probably my lightest right now.
Yeah. It's like thinking, does acoustics count?
Yeah, an acoustic.
Yeah, my Martin's pretty light.
yeah, my Martin's pretty light. I was thinking that. Yeah, I got a Martin. I'm like, no, the Epi's a jumbo body, so it probably technically weighs more. But probably, my 71 Telly would definitely be lightest.
And it makes a difference. I know somebody else said it before. The guitar that I play the least is the heaviest Partscaster Telly that I was talking about. I don't pick it up because it's heavy.
Yeah.
I'd like to see someone play a full night with one guitar versus another, and the difference of being just 1 or 2 pounds difference in the guitars, and they would notice a difference, especially after playing multi-sets.
Oh, yeah, it gets to you.
Yeah.
That's why also you notice there's not too many swamp ash Les Pauls out on the market. Or there's a bunch of them out on the market because of that fact it has swamp ash on it and making it super heavy. But it looks beautiful with a swamp ash top.
Well, it's like they did that, like an all maple Les Paul too, like no mahogany at all, right? And it was so dense that the thing was like 14, 15 pounds. It looked beautiful, you know, flame all the way through or whatever. But it's like, I'm not picking that up and playing it.
This is the one I'm talking about right here. It's and Matt Jones is saying swamp ash can vary. You know what? When I was cutting the wood, when I was routing it out, it felt almost like the wood was wet a little bit. And this was
that can be it as well too.
It was a cheap body that I bought from a company called Rock Audio.
Rock Audio. Yeah. They fell like a rock. That's for sure.
But anyways,
that sounds like a body that'll take 20, 30 years to fully dry out.
Probably, yeah. It's probably still wet.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it is. That's too bad because it's nice looking, but I don't play it. Oops.
And as it dries out, it'll shrink. Eventually, it'll become a ukulele.
Yeah. It'll spend a brief period as a mini Strat style on its way.
Plus, I think one of the things that that happens with swamp ash is I think it's quite a bit more porous.
Yes.
Than alder, and the amount of porosity varies a lot, which I think is why we get the difference in weight. If it's more porous, it's lighter. You know, if it's less porous, it's heavier. So.
Yeah, and if you roast one of those bodies, you can get them down to like 6.5 pounds.
Yeah, it's too bad. Otherwise, it looks nice.
Hangs
on the wall nicely.
And heavy guitars on the shoulder. When I did play when I was younger, I was primarily a bass player, and you start off with P basses, that kind of thing, which are really heavy, and I couldn't play an entire night without coming home, with a shoulder that felt like I'd been beaten up with.
Yeah.
And then I was a Paul McCartney fan back in those days, and I scored myself a Hofner Beetle bass.
Oh, nice.
And I got to tell you, the difference in weight was astounding. But of course, those Hofners are hollow bodies.
Yeah.
But I went from the point where I would get through halfway through, the 2 to 4 hours that we were playing, and be begging for it to be over. So that I'd get to the end of it, and I'm like, I can play another hour if we need, guys.
Yeah, I don't understand. My bass player plays, I think he's got a 72 or a 74 P bass, and his strap is made out of an old leather belt, and it's only maybe 3/4 of an inch wide. And I was like, dude, I can't play a Telecaster with one of those straps, let alone a bass. And the guy's 11 years older than me, and I'm like, how do you do it, bro? And he's like, I'll be sore tomorrow.
You got to get one of those big 2-inch wide guys, or even bigger if you can find them.
Oh, yeah, wider. Yeah. That's what I do. Yeah.
P basses sound great, but they're just dogs for weight.
Yeah.
You got to hire somebody to hold on to it while you play it. Like the guys that climb the mountain, you get those Sherpa guys to come up and carry all the stuff up the mountain with them.
Yeah.
You got to get your own musical Sherpa.
All right, I'm just taking a look at the chat here. If anybody's got any questions, we only charge. How much are we charging tonight, guys? $5.99 a question.
We were giving them a cut rate tonight, right?
Yeah, I just see Zach Thong says the Richie Kotzen Fender Tele is a pretty cool guitar. Very cool. Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah. Is that a new model? I don't know that one.
That's been out for
quite a few years.
Yeah, like it's it's got binding, it's got some overwound pickups in it. Kind of what everybody does to a Tele, right? Put some hot pickups in it and put a nice setup on it, and they might have locking tuners.
I thought there's
Robert Baker actually had one of his students learning guitar, and the student had a Richie Kotzen Tele, and the student comes in, and Robert's like, "That's a nice Tele. You want to try it? Sure." So Robert's like, "Wow, this is nice. What kind of Tele is this?" Richie Kotzen. He's like looking like, "What?" Because here's this kid. He didn't think he thought it would be like a low end, not super great Tele, and then here it is. It's Richie Kotzen, and it's the Richie Kotzen signature Tele. So he's just like, "Oh my god!"
When I ran into Robert at Gearfest, and he was telling me he had a student come in one time, and his grandmother gave him a guitar, to take for his first lesson, which was an old Telecaster. And he looked at it and he went, "Wow, this is in good shape, but it's really old," because it had like a tweed case and stuff. And, and he's like, "Well, what is it?" And when he turned it over, the serial number only had 4 digits. And it's just like, they dated it as like a 61 or something like that. So when the kid's dad came to pick him up, Robert went up to him and goes, "Look, take him down to Guitar Center, buy a Squier Affinity Tele, bring that back, put this away. When he gets good, pull it back out." Because he's like, "What are you talking?" He's like, "This is a $25,000 guitar." He's like, "Oh, okay." And sure enough, the kid came back next week with a Squier Tele, type thing. He's like, "Perfect, away we go."
That's awesome. I love stories like that.
Came back with a rubber band strung over a broom handle or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Your kid learned on this.
There's a new Fender that was released. New Tele released this week. There was a video with
John
5,
Yes,
It was a
I
good
saw
video.
that.
Troublemaker.
Yeah,
Troublemaker.
Last week. Yeah.
That's got
Yeah, the one where it's the only corporate video I've seen where somebody curses because
Yeah, that was
it
pretty
was
funny.
well,
like,
and that's the honest response, right? You
Can I
you
say
play this
that?
guitar, you fall in love with it, and you drop an F-bomb because
that was a good video.
that's how you genuinely feel. Because I know that's what I did when Rich rewired and modded my 71. He handed it to me on air, plugged in for the first time. I strummed one chord, and that's all I could say because I was so impressed.
I love John 5 too, because most people know him from Marilyn Manson, but he does chicken picking all the time, right?
Does he
It's
really?
Oh,
so funny. Like, it's just a contrast.
Marilyn
to
Manson,
what
the chicken picking. Wow.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He
does
grew
a
up-
ton of
He grew
session
up a
work.
country fan, so that's why
Yeah.
he is actually primarily a
Yeah.
chicken picking type guy, and he's actually
Mhm.
integrated that into some of his Marilyn Manson playing and whatnot.
Yeah, because he does a lot of hybrid picking and like if you ever hear Johnny Highland play high gain rock and roll, it's still Johnny Highland, and he won't put in the pedal steel bends, but you can still see he's hybrid picking on a lot of his lightning fast stuff.
Yeah, it was a funny video, I thought anyway. And he was blindfolded too, did mention that.
Yeah.
So he didn't know what he was playing, right? It's got the same, it's pretty cool looking. It's got the same pickups that I have in my Pro Tele. It's the Shawbuckers, the humbuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they went with the 2-volume, 2-tone setup as well. So it's kind of a Tele Deluxe, but it's not a Tele Deluxe because it doesn't have a big headstock.
It looks like
Right.
Fender tried to take their Tele and turn it into a Les Paul.
Yeah. Well, they tried it in 72. And
Was it
they're
different?
still making remakes of it.
Yeah, see, ideally, that Troublemaker is what the Tele Deluxe in 72 should have came out with, except with the large headstock. You take all the rest of that body and then put in the wide range humbuckers, and that's exactly what should have came out in 72.
I
Look at
agree.
it here. Yeah, it's a limited edition. There's 2 colors they came out with.
It's pretty pricey though.
Yeah, it's like in Canada it's 2,600.
Yeah, in the States it's like $2,000. Just about, $19.99. That's $2,000.
Yeah. So it's the same price as an Elite.
Oh right, okay, yeah, it is kind of like a Les Paul. It's got the cavity on the back to get into the switch and the pots.
It's almost like they said,
Bring it up.
let's make a Les Paul, but we'll put it in our Stratocaster, body.
Yeah.
I think it still has a bolt-on neck. I think.
Yeah.
Let me just bring it up here. I'll show a picture here. Looks pretty cool.
I like it in that finish more than the
There was another
Pelham
one, right?
Blue.
There's another one that was like a gray blue sort of.
Yeah, it's Pelham Blue.
Pelham blue, they're calling it.
Yeah.
And the neck looks like a roasted. What is it?
Yeah, it kind of looks like it's roasted or aged.
Mahogany
That's the
body.
hot thing, right? Everybody's roasting necks these
Oh,
days.
it is the big headstock, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it
yeah.
is.
it's
Yeah,
got the
it's-
CBS type head
It's
on
really
it.
nice. I
Big.
like that. It's got the same humbuckers that I have. Oh, I didn't realize it. Yeah, look at the bridge.
And they
the,
put an actual
so
tunematic bridge on it. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that
it's-
is their
it's a
that
tunematic
is their
bridge.
Les Paul.
So that's a Les Paul. Yeah, that's
The
cool.
Telecaster Les Paul.
And the funny part is, around the same time that Fender started doing stuff like that in the early to mid 70s, you had Gibson flirting with single coil stuff at the same time.
Yeah,
Like both companies were faltering a bit and looking for new ways to go, so they copied each other, and who knew?
and it went nowhere, right?
Yeah, real fast, yeah. Because everyone's like, well, I'll just buy an Ibanez knockoff of either of yours and
Yeah.
spend half as much money, right?
Jason Wade is saying he's got to take off. Thanks for joining, Jason.
Yes.
See you later
Cool
this
hanging out
weekend.
with you, Jason. Yeah.
Oh,
awesome.
Cheddar's saying it's a mahogany neck. So it's
Oh, really?
that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
What
Wow.
is the neck on a Les Paul? It's usually mahogany, right?
Usually,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they're totally going for a Les Paul. I didn't see that mentioned anywhere in the video. They didn't mention Les Paulish. It was just a Telly, and I couldn't. It was
Except in the
video was,
Norland years, they actually did use maple.
Okay.
Like, I think it was like a 3-piece maple neck.
Oh, yeah. Well, geez, there's it's a few years in the 70s, your pancake body of up to, 5 pieces of mahogany before they put a maple cap on, 3 to 5 piece necks. It's just like, what, are you just picking up splitters off the floor and building these things? Like,
Call it a puzzle caster.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That was the only other guitar news that I heard this week. I don't know if you guys heard this one. You guys know Steel Panther?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the tone print?
The tone print for TC Electronic?
I actually discussed that briefly with Rich as I was leaving his place, because what ticked me off, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups, and a lot of people are like, oh, the steel, the satchel pedal. I kept saying the satchel pedal. And I was like, it's not a pedal, it's a tone print.
Right.
However, this wouldn't even be an argument, because if Satchel had released a pedal by that name, they would have sold 1 million of them already, because I would have that pedal on my board just for the name. How could you not have that pedal on your board?
That's their whole thing, right? That was the whole, like, that's their whole,
like,
that name. So I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. They released a tone. So TC Electronic makes pedals. They make this, they have this software called Tone Print. You can upload or download new tones to a pedal, right? So this group called Steel Panther, which is basically like an 80s tribute band.
Sleaze rock.
Yeah. He released a tone print called Pussy Melter. Right? It's been removed. There was too many complaints. So that was hilarious.
There's quite the debate in my Facebook group about it, and it was actually led by a female friend of mine, and she's like, on my top 10 list of offended words, that doesn't even make the top 5.
But we're talking about cats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Anyways, everybody gets offended these days. Somebody's offended by anything you say, so.
Yes, some of this offensive stuff has gotten a little over the top.
Yeah, exactly. Like Cheddar says, I have a way huge camel toe on my board.
They've done tons of those pedals, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's complained about those. There's so many of those.
Exactly. A lot of them had double entendres, and there was a few of them back in the day.
EHX does, like, the Big Muff. That's been out forever, right?
Shane had a video a while back of pedals with really strange, bizarre, like semi-offensive titles and stuff.
Right.
Suggestive drawings on them, and
yeah, I remember that video. It was funny. Just ridiculous.
Actually, there was one release that actually slipped under everyone's nose.
I was thinking EHX should use the tagline. Sorry to interrupt. The Big Muff, the tone of the 70s.
Fender squeaked out some more contemporary series stuff.
Yeah, I saw that. Active pickups?
Yeah, active pickups. And one of them is specifically the new Squier Contemporary Active Jazzmaster HHST.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
Or HT, I mean.
I saw that
kind of like a Jim Root.
Exactly, yeah. I saw that on Eggfish. You guys know Hunter.
Yeah.
He has a video he does called Ask You Fish, which is basically like a Q&A thing, and he showed that one. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
Is there a price on that one?
$399 US.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So that'd be about $6 here.
So they have this color, which is like a metallic black. And then they also have this greenish kind of color as well, too.
With color matching headstock.
The fretboard was something different. It's not
yeah. Yeah, the fretboard on this green one is
I've never heard of it before.
Active pickups.
Yeah. It's a dual SQR ceramic humbucking pickups. Guitars feature matching headstock, black chrome hardware, and dual SQR ceramic humbucking pickups powered by an active 9-volt circuit. Contemporary Active Jazzmaster HHST comes complete with a fast playing C-shaped neck and stop bar tailpiece for stable tuning. Available later this summer for $399. I do think Sweetwater already has them.
If they're slated for August, yes, they do.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I know how Fender works. That's how I got my hands on the Player Series before they were released. Those were shipped a month before they were released.
Yeah. So yeah, basically this is it. It's the Active Jazzmaster HHST, and 3 basses have also slipped in.
I'm digging that blue bass.
Contemporary active jazz bass HH, contemporary active jazz bass HHV, and contemporary jazz bass.
Nice.
Yeah,
so
the
the
blue on
HH
this
bass,
looks...
are they going after the Music Man market then? With the humbucker bass?
I'm not sure. Okay, yeah, the green is called Surf Pearl. And the blackish color is graphite metallic.
Does it mention the fretboard?
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't say the fretboard here, but yeah, on the Surf Pearl one, it has a different fretboard material than the graphite metallic, which is an actual rosewood one. 12-inch radius.
Wow, 12.
They look really nice. Contemporary series instruments, basses, contemporary active jazz bass HH, 4 and 5 string version, are emblematic of the range's modish design. What kind of gibberish is that? 2 active Squier SQR ceramic humbuckers, suitable for high gain rock. Pickup produces high output, moderate tone, punchy lows and clear highs, according to Squier, and offer bass/treble boost EQ controls for even more tone tweaking fun. Slim C-shaped maple neck, 12-inch radius maple fretboard, upgraded bridge that enhances resonance and other contemporary features of these ash-bodied instruments. 4-string J bass $399, 5-string $429. Contemporary jazz is non-active. Ceramic single coils, hot punchy articulate tone, similar modern appointments, 12-inch radius. Indian Laurel, that's what you're looking for.
Indian Laurel, there you go.
Indian Laurel fretboard is what is on the Surf Pearl Jazzmaster.
Laurel.
Hey, you know, as long as we're talking about basses here for the moment, I'm going to just take it in a slightly different direction for a moment. Can basses and pedals, can you take your same compressor pedal that you play your guitar with and use it for your bass? Or does it need to be specially voiced or wired?
You can, but it's better to get it one voiced for bass. Yeah. Yeah. Because they do concentrate on the different frequencies. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's sort of like, well, I guess like any of them, you know, it's like chorus pedals. They do separate compressors. Although, as far as I'm concerned, compressors are compressor. You know, they don't work on frequency really.
Yeah, that's why I thought, you know, isn't it probably the one pedal that's like one size fits all?
Yeah. Although the Keeley compressor I recently picked up actually has a switch for single coil and humbucker, so it does make a difference. I noticed.
So hey, Terry, what was it called again?
What?
Indian Laurel.
Indian
Laurel, yes.
Laurel. That's that word that people couldn't hear
properly. Laurel.
Laurel or Yanny?
Oh God. Laurel or Rosewood.
Indian. You saying Indian Yanny? What?
Indian Yanny?
Indian Laurel.
Indian Yeti?
You know what? You guys remember that phrase that people were hearing different stuff? That made me think of something recently, where one of the most common, maybe not most common, a lot of videos people will comment on guitar playing and say like, tune your guitar, and you're like, it was in tune. So I'm wondering how many people actually hear stuff out of tune compared to other people.
Yeah, true.
One example.
The question is, do they have more of a perfect pitch? Whereas, you know, it may sound in tune to us because we're, you know, say 80% of perfect pitch, but to someone who has perfect pitch, it's like just impossible for them to listen to, right?
Exactly.
Because it could be out that finite amount.
Or is it just somebody that just has to have something negative to say about you?
That too.
Well, yeah.
That too.
Shane mentioned modulation and compressors don't matter as far as pedals go. I will say, like a trick for a lot of punk guys have done is a bass big muff works really well on a guitar. In a lot of situations, it's better to use the bass big muff than a standard big muff. Whereas I liked putting a regular big muff on a bass. It had a different grit to it. And actually, the last time I gigged as a bass player, I actually used my whole pedal board in my bass rig. I still ran Electro-Harmonix Crayon right over top of my bass just to give it a little growl all night. Because we're playing as a trio, so I wanted a little more girth for during the guitar solos. Wow, he sneezed so hard he disappeared.
I was gonna say,
Jeez Louise. Wow, that's impressive, Terry. Jesus. It's like you sneezed and just bam. Poof,
I had my hand on the mouse and when I sneezed, I clicked the button next thing you know, it went back and it's like, oh god. Anyways, that blue you're asking about, that is actually ocean blue metallic on the contemporary bass.
Nice. That'd look awesome on it.
And it also comes with dark metallic red as well.
It looks like Matt Jones was going to make the same joke that I was going to make, the terrible humor that I have. The Laurel joke. I'm sure I'm not going to be the last person to mention that.
No.
Gesundheit. Is that how you spell that? Gesundheit.
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 It's German. It means health. So when somebody sneezes, you figure they're getting sick, they say health.
I always jokingly say when somebody sneezes, konnichiwa.
Hello.
Huh?
Dale Palmer says, I hear guitars slightly out of tune on vids sometimes, but don't comment about it. Yeah, like if you watch half of ours, like Richie is so hard on guitars, and most guitars in guitar shops, the strings aren't stretched, and we'll be doing a 5-minute review, and halfway through the video, I can hear he's out of tune. I'm like just cringing. Like, don't play that chord. Don't, just play some lead now.
Yeah, I usually don't. If I hear a guitar tune, I don't really comment on it. I don't really care.
Well, it's like, everybody's used to somebody playing at like this specific tone, or if they're used to hearing a song being played this way over a song or whatever, then, to hear it played differently, everybody's like going, oh, your guitar is out of tune, or you're not playing it right. And it's like, no, I'm playing it right. In some instances, you are playing it right. In other instances, it's like, yeah, you might be playing it right, but maybe you just don't have it tuned to the specific tuning of the song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've got that too, where it's like, I'll play, someone in the chat will say, hey, I play that song. It doesn't sound as, gnarly when I do it or something like that. And I'll be like, well, I'm tuned down half a step.
Yeah.
So it's going to sound that little beefier.
And of course, there's so many other factors. Of course, the instrument you're playing, the instrument, the cord you're connecting the instrument to the amp to, the amp you're playing, the effects you're playing, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And of course, YouTube's compression.
Sometimes too, when it sounds like you're playing and all of a sudden it's out of tune, I got to wonder if you set your intonation up too, because you could be you could be set up perfectly on your open strings, but run your hand up to the 12th fret and just bar it and play it again, and they don't necessarily go on up with it the same way if your string is too short or too long.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, Dale says it perfectly in the side chat here. Some people get way too critical and carried away with nitpicking. And I mean, I had that happen a few times where it was like, okay, I'm finished the guitar, I'm doing some sound demos and people are like, well, it sounds out of whack or this sounds out of whack. It's like, I just put the damn thing together. I did not, perfectly set it up to, demo it fully. I'm just showing how it sounds, how it is at the moment.
And a lot of times it depends on who even comments. Like if it's one of your regulars that is my longtime subscriber, then I will, like, I won't say I completely take it to heart, but I'll be like more aware. It's like, because there's like, they feel the need to speak up. Like, dude, like your guitar was totally out of tune. You might want to reshoot the video, as opposed to a name you've never heard of, and they're like, oh, you stink at guitar. It's like, well, go watch an Eddie Van Halen video then, brother. Why are you watching me?
Or as I like to say, well, where's your playing videos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are the people you click on. They have 3 subscribers and no videos up. It's like, okay. Yeah.
But people
Too
like
busy touring the world.
Everybody wants to be a critic.
Yeah.
Those who can't do criticize.
Yeah, and I agree with what Steve said. And a lot of it is like jealousy. It's like
to some degree, sometimes I wonder if it's like they can't stand to see somebody else do something that's not too bad, you know, and people are saying, hey, you know, that's pretty good, and they can't stand the fact that somebody else is getting attention.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
or like, why can't I do that? You know, like, that's not a hard riff. Why can't I do what that guy's doing?
That reminds me, I'm going to share, I shared it on Instagram, but I'm going to share it right now. I had a guy.
Oh, no, we don't want to see.
One sec here. This is a comment. So I have it set up in my YouTube account. When somebody comments, I get an email. It sends me an email, right? It's just something. I don't know if that's by default or whatever. So somebody can go and edit that comment, not realizing that I've already had the original comment. And
yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
So let's see here. So the top one is the original comment. No, sorry, the original comment is on the bottom down right here. In quotes. So he was commenting on my soundproofing. He gave me like a 4 out of 5, saying, "Oh yeah, you know, you did an okay job there." Then completely changed it and said, "I hope you." So he had to waste so much time and money, and hope you don't have to sell that house. I'm like, what? And then complain about the amp I was using, that it's not even a loud amp. It was an AC-15. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Must be wonderful to be an expert.
Yeah, I just look at the comments when the people
disorder.
Yeah, when they contradict themselves, you know, like, you would have annoyed your neighbors. You were so bad at soundproofing, and man, what a crappy amp! It barely even rattles your pant legs. And you're like, well, which is it? Is it a quiet amp or is it a poor soundproofing job? Like,
yeah, I don't know what happened there. That's weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Folks will circle back and contradict themselves if you give them enough time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just go back to your basement, plug in your Line 6 Spider, and have a good day.
There you go.
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Glenn Fricker this week, so I've literally been watching Glenn answering viewer comments in his stupid musician text.
Yeah.
And I'm just dying because I'm watching them at work all week, and I'm just like, this is gold. This is absolute gold. And I love the metal community, and I did sound at metal shows, so I get the whole don't cup the microphone. Oh, man, do I get that. I was like, man, I used to deal with 7 bands a night, and 6 of the singers would do that.
Would do that? Yeah.
Oh, man. But that's my tone. No, that's laziness.
You don't have a desire to buy one of the bass shirts?
You know what? Actually, I want to contact. What is it about singers, too, that they got to put one foot up on your damn monitors and cave in your speaker grills all the time? Well, that's how I stand. Really? So you have monitors at home? Because clearly, and that's the other thing, singers, when they stop singing, they would always hold the mic down and point it straight at the monitor, causing a feedback loop. Oh. And they yell at you, like, I need more monitors. I'm like, and I remember one time, it was in between songs, I got up and walked up on stage. I said, dude, have you ever used a monitor in your life? Clearly, you have no concept how this works. I left the whole PA system on, and this is all getting picked up by the mics, live mics. And I just let this guy have it, flat out. I said, clearly you have no respect for my gear. And I said, you show up, you have your own microphone. I'm not going to say what German company, starting with a B, it was. I was like, okay, fine. You don't want to use my Shure microphone. And then I was like, dude, I'm the guy who showed up with 10 grand in PA gear,
Sorry, I was stuck on me again. Gotta stop doing that.
It happens.
I just love watching myself.
I know you have a Line 6, and that's your little practice amp. That's not your actual gigging amp. It's when guys show up and they're like, you can mic this and put it through the PA, right? I'm like, well, do we have a choice? Yeah, I'm sure the 4th row wants to hear you. So,
man. No, though, I'm honestly that kind of comment there. That's far and few. I don't get too many comments like that. I'm pretty lucky that way.
Yeah.
I don't have the. I don't really get the trolls so far.
I usually get them live.
Some doozies. Oh my god, I've seen some of the ones he's posted up on his personal Facebook.
Who's that?
Oh yeah,
Robert Baker. Oh my god, I've seen somebody play it better. Blah 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 blah. Goes, yeah, I've seen it too. Guess who I learned it from? That person.
Yeah. I don't get the comments yet. It's only in the live chats. Your random people that are bored and because YouTube loves to promote people that are currently live at any given time, which is awesome because it allows us to grow our channels. But as a result, you get a lot of people dropping in just to stir the pot.
Is that how that works? I always wondered how these people are finding your live stream. I guess they're just looking for live chats, and they're getting.
There is a listing for live chats,
right? Okay.
And if you happen to actually advertise it enough and Google picks it up, they will promote it. Yes. But I mean, it's popularity. If somebody name drops you as saying, hey, go check out this person's channel, well, you'll get people looking at your channel. I mean, I know so many more people that have gotten more subs than I have. But I mean, again, my channel is only a personal channel to begin with, so I don't expect to have as many subs as you do, Lando, and Tone King and Shane and everything else.
For the amount of new names I see popping in the chat, and it's not like, oh yeah, I recognize this name from Landon's channel or Shane's channel or something. Like a completely random name. Excuse me. But I can see how often it happens. It seems like you almost get exposed to 10% of whatever amount of subs you have, 10% more will get to see your videos come up. That's what it just seems to, like right now. I'm at that 300 sub range, so it seems that 30 more people are seeing my stuff other than my subs.
All right, I got to do something here. I just saw a comment from Dale Palmer. Said knock on wood. So this is
hello.
There we go.
Knock on wood.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to lose that good thing.
I don't know. You can also tell too when somebody's a troll account and when they're just a jerk. Like when somebody's username is gayboy666 or something like that, which I'm not even making that up. That's a real name. That he's on.
I think I've seen that one.
Yeah, he's been on Hunter's channel and we've talked a few times about it. He just has the worst comments. Like it's just like.
I'm surprised you guys, managed to withhold, not finding where these people are and go hunt them down and do unspeakable things to them.
Usually they don't even.
No, I just karma take care of that. I'm a huge
Dale brings
karma,
up,
so
as long as I've been more active on YouTube and gone over various things, Dale brings up the best point of all in the sidetrack. Try viewing some of the religious channel live streams if you want to see some rude behavior.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it is so funny because, here is all these religious people that say, you don't do this to your neighbor, blah, blah, blah. And you're supposed to be doing all these things by the religious book. But do you see them actually doing so on YouTube? No, they do actually everything that would be against any of the rules or laws that their religion says. So they would be massive sinners. Like the amount of stuff that they do on YouTube, they'd have to sit in the pew for 2 hours to confess their sins. It's just crazy.
It's a lot harder to walk the walk than talk the talk.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of folks do these days. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. You can apply that to a number of different things. But
Mario. Yeah. Apparently, we're talking Mario out of making videos now. No, dude, if you're at all confident in your playing, put them up. Yeah. Put them up. Let the world see them. Good, bad, or otherwise. Just don't care.
My channel, I have 1,400 plus videos. And again, I put out videos, and like I said, I get a lot of comments from people saying, you're playing that wrong. This is out of tune. Why don't you take some lessons, blah, blah, blah. But it's like the point of, like I said, of me putting my videos out. It's showing, doesn't matter what play level you are or whatever, put it out there. Don't take everyone's responses to heart too much.
No.
If you show you're trying to make an effort to learn and play, to me, that is more important than, getting criticized about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it more important that you do it for yourself?
Yes,
this is for your enjoyment,
Yeah.
And if I can put this out there and you can find some enjoyment in it too, well, that's nice. We have a connection. But if you don't care for it, I didn't make you turn it on. You can click off to some other channel without having a smart ass thing to say.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, there's a lot of people, it's, it is really, as I like to say, it's more of a hobby. Yeah. So, I mean, you're not necessarily looking for artistmanship or performanceship, but, if you happen to come along the line and do so, hey, that's a bonus.
I know for myself, I'm no great guitar player, but it brings me, a lot of satisfaction. It lowers my stress levels, and I just feel a whole lot better when I do it, and it really, would I love to be a better guitarist or a better musician? Yeah, I sure would. I was a whole lot better when I was younger.
Matt Jones, I can control a bunch of religious nut jobs. Now I know what I'm doing wrong, or doing on Sundays.
Oh, exactly.
And to your point, Terry, like, you put up what you put up, and like, I consider I'm an average gigging guitar player. Like, I'm not some fancy, I get by, I get paid for what I do. And someone could look at what, let's see, me whipping off a Van Halen song, and then they'll go over to your channel and you're busting out some Malcolm Young lines, right?
Yeah.
But I can say, people go, well, Ben's great and Terry's a terrible player. Well, I can tell you, I was watching one of Terry's videos the other night, a replay of one of your live noodles, I'll call it, and you're playing some AC/DC riffs. And there was one that, like, I always kind of knew it, but I was like, wait a minute. I started watching, and you're playing the same riff over and over, and I'm like, so that's how you do it. Next thing you know, I'm noodling that riff myself, and I didn't know that riff the day before. So, and that's the thing. Like, somebody, no matter how you consider yourself, good, bad, or otherwise, people will always learn something from others, and it could even be something as, I might love a preset tone you did on that Viper amp, and then the next thing you know, you're going to get a message from me. I'm like, well, dude, what's that preset? What is that? What are you doing there? Because I want to dig that tone.
Yeah.
You never know where it could be. It could be the playing, it could be the tone, it could be the guitar, it could be the amp. Who knows?
Yeah, it's the same thing as like all the Squier stuff I put out. Not too many videos were put out of the Squier Vintage Modified Tele Deluxe. Sure. I got tons of hits on that because not too many of them were actually on YouTube. And I'm sure that influenced a lot of people into, I think I did get at least 1 or 2 comments of people that did actually go out and buy one because of it.
Yeah, sure. Groovy Ghoulie says Terry rocks large. I did the same thing as Ben. See, there you go. So you taught 2 guys the other night.
Thanks.
Who knew, right? Who knew?
Yeah. I have to call him Sensei.
Yep. Well, and then Dan Sullivan put up a video there of that Gatto song a couple of weeks ago. Next thing you know, I've been playing Sweet Thing for 2 weeks solid, to the point where our band's probably going to start covering it because I can't get it out of my head because I love the song. So thank you, Dan Sullivan.
That happens to me too. Sometimes I get a song and it just like it plays in my head when I'm sleeping even.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and my problem
if I don't get up and get it out of my head, it'll like drive me insane.
And for me, I can hear a song all my life, and the gist of it, like an E to G to A, type riff. But my problem is I can't tell if it's E G A or is it A C D, because I have enough hearing loss. I hear the changes, but I can't tell what key it's in until I sit down. All I have to do is watch you play that riff once, and I know the song. Because when the changes are and everything. It's just I just need to know where the starting point is. And as soon as I know that opening riff, okay, I'm good. Yeah, no worries, Dan. Too many years playing heavy metal with high stage volume. Yeah, my right ear is shot. So I can't mix music anymore.
A couple people have commented that's the thing. It's just for fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take it too seriously. Well, I mean, not everybody, but for the I'd say for the general population, it's a hobby.
Yeah,
it's all a hobby.
Yeah, like what's the percentage of guitar players that actually get paid to play guitar at all? Like I consider, like even myself, like just playing local bars and stuff like that. Like what's the percent? 1% of guitar players maybe actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know.
Play in bands, if that. I bet. I don't think it's a very high percentage.
No,
which is fine. No, Dan, I never did play that song before you did that video.
I'm just reading the news here. Disney bought Gibson.
Really?
You heard it here first. You heard it here, made up first. Okay.
No one saw that coming.
No. You heard it first and last here, folks.
X-Men Gold. Super size #1 Les Paul.
Supersize Me.
Yeah, Dan. See, Dan's like, if you didn't hear play that song before, you played it pretty damn good. Heard you play it, you were better at it than me. And that was when I went live the following afternoon. I think, like literally less than 24 hours. But Dan, I've been a huge fan of the song for decades. So it was just once you showed me the riff, again, you knew all the changes. Yeah, sort of like if you.
Sorry, just looking at the time. We got about. We've cut it off in about 10 minutes. We've almost been going 2 hours. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to get running now anyhow, guys. I got to go to the dentist early in the morning. I'm not looking forward to that.
All right.
So I'm going to sign off, guys. Yeah. Good to see you all.
Nice seeing you, Steve.
Cool. Great seeing you again, Steve.
Here we are. And we'll all get together again real soon, either here or with Shane or wherever.
Sure.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
And then there was
they got the Iron Man Les Paul and the what else we got here? Just making up some guitars from Disney and Gibson.
The Hello Kitty SG Junior.
With the horns done as cat ears.
Yeah.
That's a real Squier, right? Have you seen the Hello Kitty Squier?
Yeah. Hunter.
Yeah, he just had it. Hunter just had it.
Hunter just did that one video.
Wow.
There's also another guy that I've subscribed to lately, and he's done a bunch of interesting videos, and it's a guy named Guitar Max.
I haven't heard of that one.
And he's turned around. He's kind of done like what's the cheapest guitar on Amazon, or what's the cheapest bass or cheapest acoustic, and he's actually found a few deals. And yeah, Groovy Ghoulies knows who I'm talking about. Yeah, and the funny part is not only is he pretty good in that regard, but also the guy's a really good player too. Like, I think he plays a lot of metal-ish type of stuff.
Ah, cool. All right, we got sorry, Mitch. Mitch is taking off. I think everybody's kind of wrapping it up.
Yeah, I was at work at 8 o'clock this morning. It's been a long day.
Yeah, it definitely would be time to.
Well, we don't normally open our shop till 11 a.m., but we were switching over internet providers, and it was the old. Well, the guy will be there between 8 and 5. So.
Oh God, yeah.
So literally, I sat at the shop for. Well, it was great. I got paid for 3 hours to do nothing, literally, except waiting on a phone call. And so I just sat there watching YouTube, trying to stay awake.
Till they cut your internet off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, Mitch,
I have a mosquito in here. Yay.
Thanks for watching, Mitch.
Yeah. Awesome. Good to see you, Mitch. Anybody else have any last questions in the chat here, folks?
Discounted price now. We're 99-cent questions, right?
Trying to
clear 99 cents plus GST.
Yeah.
So $1.13.
HST. Come on.
GST and HST. We're in Ontario. We got to pay both.
Right.
Fortunately. Damn you, other provinces.
Yeah. Lucky Albertans.
All right.
Yeah, Alberta and BC.
Shane's got to get back to the future because he's in Australia. He's taking off. Thanks
I think it's
Shane's got to go back to stocking up his Pepsi Max.
Yeah. Well, I've
find a few good cases, Shane.
Sponsored
by the way, Shane, your latest Guitar Search Saturday was great. Loved it.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah.
That was the little shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those places. Those are cool.
Yeah, some of the best.
We got one like that in Ottawa called Spaceman Music, and it's just they have a little bit of new stuff, but it's mainly used gear.
Nice.
So it's always something different when you go in.
When you mention that, it almost thinks it makes me think of that previous place in Toronto that was Woodstock Music or something like that. It was really, really popular back in the day, but that's what it was known for, was used gear.
Oh yeah.
And that's actually what I think it went to, was that Spaceman Music or something like that was what it actually changed down to. I think they downgraded and changed the name.
Okay.
Well, you kind of have that with the 12th fret in Toronto. They have a lot
Yeah.
of high-end used stuff. They're kind of a grunts almost, though. Those grunts guitars in many ways. Hey, come in and buy your 53 Les Paul. Okay.
Yeah, like I was saying, I found that one place there in Toronto somewhere called Tundra Music. They actually have high-end boutique kind of old instruments that they actually do, I think, sales and rental of. So, like you were saying, if you wanted to play a late '60s LP, they more than likely would have one that you could actually rent for like an hour or two.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
Use it there or something.
Nice.
All right, I think I'm gonna. We're a couple of minutes to go, but I think I'll wrap it up. Everybody's saying goodnight here, so
yeah.
Thanks for joining, guys. Everybody's yawning, falling asleep.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Always, yeah, for sure. There you go. What the hell is that? Tarzan?
Sounded like an Eddie Van Halen elephant roar.
All right. Yeah, so that's gonna do it.
Thanks to everyone in the chat that tuned in.
Yeah,
awesome.
Nice to see everybody. Nice
to
see
you. Bunch of familiar names and a few I haven't seen before. Always like talking to new people.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, guys, I'm gonna kill it. We're gonna kill it, and then that's gonna be it for tonight. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks, guys.
Have a good rest of the week.
Later, Zach.